Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I've got a fun one today. This might be the largest box I've ever gotten one knife in. This is a knife, it's not a sword, it's not a spear, it's not an axe. This is a knife. Some of you may have been getting some stimulus money lately, and I got some stimulus money, and because I am a married man, at first I didn't get any of the stimulus money for knives. Went to bills and savings and adult stuff, but I wore my wife down, and eventually I got her to agree to let me spend $300 on a knife. So I had already picked out exactly what I wanted before we even started that, but I went ahead and ordered it. I found one place that had this knife in stock. This is a Microtech, but it's not a normal Microtech. And I've seen a few of these on Instagram. Some people post some really rad pictures of them, and I've really wanted one, even though it's totally impractical. And I couldn't find them in stock anywhere. I was on like a third page of Google searching before finally, I don't know why it didn't come up sooner, but I found at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, they had one in stock. And the only reason why I think they had one in stock is because the listing had no image. But I knew from the product name and number, it could only be the right thing. So let's pray this is actually the right thing in the box. That would be embarrassing if it's not. If you haven't seen the video on this yet, I did a first impressions on it. This is a Spyderco Spidey Chef that I am borrowing from my brother to check out and review. And I may just steal from him because so far I really like it. All right, let's see what we got. So the box is open. We have invoice. You don't need to see that. Return form. Don't plan on using that. Sticker from SMKW. Very cool. Lots of paper. More paper, and the biggest Microtech box that I've ever seen. I've had a couple of Microtechs, not a ton. I've had a few, and none of them came in boxes this big. They were all like a quarter of this size. So let's bust it open and show you what I got. Now, in here, it's got the typical sharp edge, caution, sharp edge, inspected by, with some initials. And we've got some tactical bubble wrap. And in the tactical bubble wrap is this. So this is the Microtech Borka SBD Dagger. As you can see, it has a carbon fiber finished Kydex sheath. It's got this, I forget what these are called, Tech Lock, I think, something like that. I don't know, we'll play with that in a second. It's got this tag on it, $294. I think everywhere else also had them for $295, which is funny. I even messaged when I decided to get this knife, the same dealer that I purchased my Hellhound Bounty Hunter from, because I had a great experience with them. And they didn't even have any of these. These are just really hard to come by. I don't know how many of these they made. I'll have to look into that. But I know that they're virtually impossible to get now. So without further ado, let's show her off. As you can see, we are double-edged here. Got this awesome kind of blood groove fuller. I don't know what you'd want to call it. And it's like aspirated. It's got holes in there. It's got G10 scales. Got a ring back here. This isn't a ring to put your finger in. Yeah, this is a dagger if I've ever seen one. Do I have a real reason to own this knife? No, not really. I might try carrying it appendix in waistband or something, just for kicks and giggles. But it is a murdery, stabby, pretty hardcore Microtech. On the blade, ooh, this is good news. So my personal lucky number that I picked when I was like, I don't know, 14 or something. I decided I wanted to have a favorite number that was very safe from being someone else's favorite number. So I just picked the most random number, and that number is 67. And this is serial number 067, which is pretty dope. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but we have serial number 67. This was manufactured January of this year, 01/2020. We're rocking M390 blade steel, USA, and we've got Borka's kind of insignia there as well, and it is the Microtech SBD. So that's way cool. This has a really nice stonewash finish on it. Upon first inspections, I think it looks really good, and I think it really suits kind of the design of this knife well. The flats are all satin, which is great too. I didn't notice that from the pictures, but that is a welcome surprise. And then it looks inside the fuller, pardon me, I just ate a lot of spaghetti. It looks in the fuller like it is stonewashed as well, or it might just be blasted. I don't know. If it's stonewashed, it's a slightly different texturing than on the blade. But yeah, then we've got these G10 handle scales, some seriously large hardware. I don't even know what size Torx that would be. Maybe like a 15 or something. I'll see if I've got the right tool for it. I probably do. We've got this kind of jimping here on both sides, right up at the front, which is nice because sometimes when jimping is large, it's like too aggressive. But if you make it even larger, then it doesn't feel as aggressive, especially when it's rounded like this. And this is like the right amount of large. I either like really fine jimping or really big jimping that's like softened. And all these edges are pretty well softened. It's not like it's super tough. It's not, yeah, none of these edges are sharp. And then we've got that same jimping here along the butt of this, which will give you a great spot to put your thumb. And this is a dagger, so you're meant to stab with it. Yeah, this thing is crazy. This is just, I've been so excited to get this knife. More excited than I should be, but I think it's so cool, and I think it just looks awesome. I really want to figure out how many of these they made, especially since mine is a relatively low serial number at 67. They've got 3 digits there, so they definitely didn't do more than 1,000 or 999. I have seen there was a, I don't know what Microtech calls it, like the signature series or something. They had one of these that they did. Again, I don't know how many, I'd guess like 50 or something, maybe 100, that were black, and I think they had carbon scales, and then it had like the, I think, bronze hardware. I didn't see any of them new. I saw one for sale secondhand, but I decided to go with this. I actually kind of prefer, I like the stone wash that they do at Microtech, and I think the contrast with the non-black blade looks really cool on here. So this thing is dope. It's really, really cool. It's super sharp, and that tip obviously is, it's a piercer, that's for sure. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna cut anything with this. I'm sure I'll cut something, but if I get into an altercation and I have a knife on me, I hope that it's this one, because this is intense, and I would not want to be on the receiving end of it. That is for dang sure. So there is the Microtech Borka SBD Dagger, and eventually I'll have a full review on this after some use, question mark. I don't know, just after having it for longer. Once I've gotten more acquainted with it, we'll do a full review on this guy, but first impressions are super strong. This thing is crazy cool. So there you have it. That's my new dagger.